Thank you very much for doing that. Thank you also for having me. The 4 years I spent here were 4 of the best years of my life, so I have very fond memories of this place. And I'm going to start by saying a couple of things about Zook and Russell. El was a great leader, a great surgeon, great innovator, mentor and colleague, and I've had quite a few chiefs, and he stands out as the best chief I ever had. And he even took Russell, my brother, and I elk hunting, and I thought, and that was the first of a few elk hunts, and I'll show you a picture of the last one. I'm here together with my wife, Gudrun. She's actually here in town and will be there tonight. Russell, great surgeon, innovator, entrepreneur, and colleague, and also a fantastic hunter and a very, very generous friend. And I fondly remember all the very nice whitetail hunts you have invited me to. And the pictures I'm showing to honor you are from the last 5 years. So I just want you to know that you initiated some great hunts and I haven't quit yet. So there's a white-tailed deer. This one happens to be from Ohio, but same idea. This is a topic that I became aware of less than a year ago. And what I'm going to tell you, I think that you are all a little aware of, but I don't think you are aware of the magnitude of the problem. And I think that it's probably the biggest problem facing medicine, and in the same way, plastic surgery today. I'm not going to say a lot, just a few things, and I hope we can have some time for discussion. Cost of medicine in the US. Are you aware that only 53% of the cost goes to treating patients, to hospitals, physicians, nurses, PTs, OTs, everyone else? Where do the rest of the costs go? That's what I'm going to touch upon. And you know, we sometimes hear very superficial comparisons with Northern Europe, where they say that part of Northern Europe have the same quality of medical care as we at just a little over half the cost. Well, I think this is the main explanation, and I think we should bring this out as often as we can. Where do these costs go? There. This is one example. These are really healthcare intermediaries. They're often referred to as low-value intermediaries. I think you might say that they are no-value intermediaries in many cases, and quite often negative value intermediaries. And of the total healthcare budgets here, you can see how they have gone from about 24.5% in 2013 to 43% in 22. It is an absolutely scary development, and unless we stop them, they will keep going. And you can see the names of the main players here. And you can see also where they invest. All their investments go in this direction because, as you know, medicine is very regulated at our level. And the costs are capped at the top level. The middle part is largely unregulated, and that's where these guys are operating. And of course, they know more than the feds about what's going on, so it's pretty easy for them to cleverly hide what they are taking. What should we do? We should educate our patients and our decision makers and start a discussion about this. I think our patients really have no idea that their PBMs, pharmacy benefit managers like Optum, Express Scripts, Caremark, that they take way more money than are supposed to. And instead of creating value, they just raise cost. And there's more to it. Another couple of examples. Oh, that Bob was a couple of years ago. Alaskan Peninsula. 2 examples from private equity. And this is from my area. These hospitals are in Boston and Providence, the ones I am talking about. So, Cerberus, you know who Cerberus was? Wasn't he the Greek, sorry? Three-headed dog. Yeah, and he was guarding the dead so that they couldn't get out of the underworld, or whatever you would call it. So, 2010, Cerberus creates Stewart Healthcare. Now Stewart owns 30 hospitals, including 7 in Massachusetts. And Stewart actually filed for Chapter 11 in May of this year. But it gets better. So Cerberus masterminded Stewart buying the 7 Caritas hospitals in Boston. And they were all doing poorly, losing a lot of money. And they claimed, Stewart claimed, and Cerberus, that they would help their management. So what did they do? They sell the real estate of these 7 hospitals that all had a negative budget, sold them for $1.5 billion to Prospect Medical Properties, also controlled by Cerberus, and leased them back to the same hospitals for over $100 million a year. And these are hospitals that cannot break even as it is, and then they're being saddled with an extra expense together of 100 to 150 million a year. And Ralph de la Torre, the CEO of Stewart, I don't know if you've heard of him, cardiac surgeon, but thought he would do better as a businessman. He gets a $100 million paycheck. I do not know how much Cerberus got, because these companies have not filed financial reports. The attorney generals are after them, but this is completely opaque. And again, initiated by Cerberus. De la Torre gets a $100 million paycheck, buys a $40 million yacht, tried to hide it in Galapagos, but some investigative reporters found it. He bought a $7 million custom-made fishing boat, and Stewart itself buys 3 private jets. And at that time, all paid for by that $1.5 billion. And then, of course, the hospitals were supposed to pay for it. The Boston Globe writes, Stewart Healthcare executives are mired in trouble at home. In Malta, it is even worse. You know, Malta is a little tiny island between Sicily and Africa. And I think they have about 500,000 people. So, Stewart Healthcare International same company, just with an additional name, signed a management contract in Malta for over 100 million. After 3 years, they haven't done anything. And an investigative reporter, a young woman, wrote about it in the Maltese newspapers, and she was assassinated very soon thereafter. And that got the Maltese legal system involved, and they have now indicted over 50 politicians and managers, and including these two guys, De La Torre and his assistant. So he pretty much has the choice, I think, well, maybe not quite, but almost having the choice of serving his time in a Maltese or an American prison. And it'll be interesting where this one lands. I mean, this is going on right now. The sentences in Malta haven't been passed yet, and the attorney generals, particularly in Massachusetts and Texas, Stewart is now registered in Texas. They are looking at ways to put these guys in jail and take what they have stolen. Bob, here is another one. Huh? Can you go to the next one, please? And Prospect, they're even better. They own 16 hospitals, including 2 critical access hospitals in Rhode Island. Roger Williams, Our Lady of the Fatima, 25 medical networks with 11,000 physicians. The Globe. The 2 Rhode Island hospitals, Roger Williams and Our Lady of Fatima, are riddled with bed bugs, dirty water, serious safety hazards, according to court documents. And the Attorney General says Prospect uses Rhode Island hospitals as a private bank and accounts payable as a credit facility loan. They are absolutely awful. And the Attorney General also has ordered them to pay their hospital's bill so that they can continue to operate, because currently nobody will provide services to the hospital such as laundry or cell supplies unless they are prepaid. And Prospect answers, if you force us to pay, we'll put the hospitals in bankruptcy. And these are critical access hospitals where the majority of the patients, almost all, have no other choice than going there. And here, also the Attorney General, this is an official statement. They use Rhode Island hospitals as a private bank and accounts payable as a credit facility loan. And these were, Bob, here is another one. And this was an article in JAMA less than a year ago, where they write that private equity acquisition results in less quality of care, more adverse events, etc. So why have nobody stopped them? This one you like, Bob. That was 2 years ago. I hunted him for 15 days, sleeping in a tent, running up and down the mountain. Next one, please. Then we have plastic surgery, and this is of particular interest to the residents, because you will be offered jobs in plastic surgery services that are either owned or will be bought by private equity. And as you know, they own a lot of practices. So they buy plastic surgery practices in attractive areas and projects a 2.5 to 3 times return on investment within 5 years. Where do they get that from? They increase debt as far as they can go. This is really a takeoff from the old leverage buyout systems where all these Wall Street people have flocked on medicine, because we have less defense against that, and of course there are many more patients than there are investors, so they are having a heyday here. They increase debt, reduce cost by firing employees and reducing salaries. They try to increase revenue, usually they cannot. There are no reinvestment in the practice, and they sell as soon as they can. And I just want to raise the awareness about this, because I don't think there has been enough said or written about it. So please, read about this. The more you read, the less you are going to like it, and listen to the news about it. We should educate ourselves and then develop a diagnosis of the whole thing and a treatment plan at the national level. And I think our national organizations have some work to do. And I think this leopard from Botswana would illustrate private equity quite well. And I think that the impala that he's in the process of eating, that's really medicine right now, or parts of medicine, parts of plastic surgery. So I wanted to remember this picture. I took it myself there, never hunted in Africa, never will. I think it's too easy there. Anyway, thank you. I think we're past the allotted time, so we should probably go to the break. What do you think, Mike?
I'm going to give Russell a second to comment, just because he has thoughts on this as well.
Yeah, I took some of the things out of my talk, but when I talked to the Hand Association, I looked up, for instance, what the head guys in pharmaceutical companies make. They make 50, 60, 80 million a year. And what is the guy who runs HCA or Hospital Corporation of America? They make the same thing, 20, 30, 40 million. And none of these. So there's a huge amount of money that's being spent on healthcare, but not for the people delivering the care. It's the other guys who are making money. So the businessmen in medicine are the ones making the money in medicine, not us. We all work for them. And a resident who finishes now can't. My office was by myself. You can't do that anymore. You have a group. SIU has their plastic surgeons. Springfield Clinic has theirs. So where do I get my patients from? Most of the guys in private practice are retiring or going away. So you can't. That model is dead now. It's impossible. So the whole dynamic of medicine is changing because these businessmen are controlling it. And that's the truth.
Absolutely, and it's a fixed pie that barely increases with inflation. And the more they take, the less Medicare and the others will pay us. So the cost enemy is really not we. When people talk about the increased cost in medicine, this is where essentially the entire increase lies right now.
We get trained in medicine, but we don't get trained in business. And these days, this is a business. And if you let those other guys take advantage of you, they will. I have one other comment. I came as visiting professor at Harvard, and I was going over my slides, and his dad, he said, "Oh, we can't show those hunting slides. I have some pictures." So what he said, not everybody likes hunting iron. So these are great pictures of his game, but I want you to know he's a closet hunter.
Thank you.